What's up YouTube, Dale here from Zephyr, and today I am bringing you a test hand combo video for the Dark World FiendSmith profile I showed you all the other day. Now this of course does involve the printed proxies that I showed you in that profile, and just like in that profile I'll put a link to the Discord down below so you can get hold of the document which has all of these already sized up for you. All you need to do them is print them off, cut them out, and you can do physical tests with the deck as it sees fit. So with all of that out of the way, please smash that like button, hit that notification bell, and subscribe so you don't miss out on any more upcoming content. What we're going to do here is we're going to do two test hands, one going first, one going second, to show you what this deck can do and how the FiendSmiths can help add to its end board. So with all of that out of the way, after a very decent shuffle and a good old cut, our opening hand of 5 will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that's a pretty nice hand you got there. So we're going to start off by using Genta. We get that into rotation very early. It doesn't make much of a difference. Of course, if you are worried about Droll, start with Corridor, but pretty much no matter what you add off of Corridor, once you discarded it, it might get hit with a Droll either way. So now I'm going to activate said Corridor. This will then allow you to add a Dark World monster and then start getting more cards into rotation. So we're going to add the Snow, we'll discard the Snow, and then we'll go directly for an Archives. Just because I'm going to get greedy on the draws on this one, that's the only reason I went with Archives. Otherwise, you could very easily go for a Session to get that into rotation, or of course, you could go for Rainbow. You could go for pretty much anything, really. So what we'll do here is we're going to activate the Archives, we're going to activate the Gate of the Dark World, we're then going to use the Gate of the Dark World to discard the Grepher and banish the Genta. Technically, banishing the Genta as cost, discarding the Grepher as effect, drawing one card. We'll then be able to trigger on a new chain. Mandatory Grepher as Chain Link 1, Chain Link 2 will be Archives, Chain Link 3 will be Genta. Genta will summon itself back. Your Dark World Archives will then allow you to discard a card and draw 2. So we'll discard the Mothman to draw 2. And then of course your Grepher will attempt to destroy something which doesn't exist. You'll then be able to use Mothman's effect to both players draw a card and both players discard a card. So we will discard the Rainbow that we just drew. Rainbow's effect will now trigger. This will allow you to get one of your other level 5 or higher Fiend monsters into rotation. And I'm going to go for Lucent for this one specifically. We will then return Genta to the hand for Rainbow, Rainbow to the hand for Grepher. Nice bit of hand advantage, re-loop there. So we're now going to activate the second Gate of the Dark World. We're going to reveal the Danger Chupacabra. No, we're not. We're going to activate Salamander Catalyzer first. We're going to discard itself, discard Rainbow and itself, summon itself, and then get the Rainbow effect to trigger. And the reason we're going to do that is this will give us Silver, so it'll give us a bit more board presence as we work towards it. There we go. Now, unfortunately, we don't have a Dark World on the board, so we did lose one card in our hand advantage, but that's not really the end of the world because some of these we don't mind getting hit. So we're going to activate Chupacabra. We'll go 1 to 5, 6 will be a reroll. Hits the 6, which is a reroll. 4, which will be Genta, which is absolutely fine because we don't have that third gate. It doesn't matter. So we're going to summon out the Chupacabra. This will then allow us to draw one off the Chupacabra. Quackamiru. Better late than never, I suppose. I mean, you could normal summon down the Quackamiru Guardian if you're worried about Nibiru or anything else. Really is up to you on that one. I will do it just for the pure fact of protection, but you shouldn't need to normally do it anyway. We're going to overlay both of those and go into Daguerre's. We're going to use Daguerre's effect. Detach 2 to draw 2 and discard 1. Yeah, we finally got into rotation. We will discard Lucent. Doesn't make much of a difference because we're just going to loop it back anyway. So we'll return Lucent to the hand for Rainbow. We will get Rainbow back to the hand shortly as well. We're now going to activate the FiendSmith effect to discard itself to add us our Tractus. We'll then activate the Tractus to add us a Light Fiend, and we're going to go for Lorry, and we're going to discard a card. So off the back of that, we will probably end up discarding the Lorry, because this will allow us to get our Light Fiends into rotation. So Lorry will then summon itself back. We'll turn the Lorry into a FiendSmith Requiem. You have the ability of FiendSmith Requiem if you want to tribute it off, but what I'm actually going to do here is I'm actually going to show you how you can get into your Dark Grepher Overlord by doing that. So we're going to link off using a Light Fiend monster and any other monster to get us into our FiendSmith Sequenter. This will then give you the ability to activate its effect to shuffle the materials from the graveyard back into the deck. So we're going to put the Grepher Dragon over Dragon Lord of the Dark World back into the deck, and then we'll also put a... I mean, I could return the Rainbow to the hand, but I don't really need to. We will put Chupacabra. Let's get that back into rotation. We'll put those both back into the deck. This will then allow us to get into our Dragon Overlord, which is really nice. Now what you also have the ability for, if you want to, is it worth using a Krokimeru? No, it's fine. We'll use Krokimeru later if you want to. We'll put all of these together. This is going to allow us to get into our... Where are you? Appaloosa. 3 negates. Very nice. And now what you also have in the graveyard is you still have the ability of the FiendSmith to put back a light Fiend monster to the extra deck or the main deck and summon itself back to the board, which is going to help you get into your rank 6 plays. But it can also help you, if you can get another light Fiend to the board, get you into a fusion summon if you wanted to off the back of the Tractus. So up to you which way you want to go. For now, I'm going to leave it into the graveyard because I think a lot of people are going to forget about that. So if they do attempt to try and break your board, you can have a lot of recursion afterwards. We're going to reveal the Danger Mothman. We'll go 1 to 4. Hits a 6. 4 hits a Lucian. That's pretty good. Mothman's going to summon. We're going to draw 1. Lucian's effect's going to summon itself back. And now we've got the ability to make the rank 6 if we want to. I mean, the Accession is not that useful to us because we're only playing 1 Grepher Dragon Overlord. And the reason we're only playing 1 is because there are ways to try and recycle it as well. But this does make me think maybe I want a second one in here. Either or, doesn't make much of a difference. What we'll do here is we use the FiendSmith ability. We're going to put itself... let's put the Lari back into the deck. We'll summon itself back. We'll overlay both of these. We'll go into a Triple D High Wave King. There we go. Do I want to discard any other cards? Or do I want to hold on to these? I mean, if I hold on to these, I've got the ability, should they activate anything, Grepher can then turn it into I Rip 2. I can very easily, I'm just trying to think if there's anything worth getting back into rotation. I could go into IP Masquerena, could be quite helpful. Or I can go into a Muckcracker. Muckcracker. Probably could have got the second FiendSmith into rotation, actually. Might have been a bit more helpful. Either way, I mean, the Krokimeru is going to self-implode during the end phase anyway, so you can overlay both, link both of those together to go into an IP Masquerena. I mean, you could go directly for a Muckcracker, and the reason you'd go for that over anything else is it gives you a bit more board presence, whereas this, you need to wait to use up the Appaloosa, the Grepher, or the DDD before you can then utilise it. So entirely up to you. If you go into the Muckcracker, I'm just going to put that there. You could use Muckcracker's effect. We would discard silver, and we will attempt to revive. Target theme monster in the graveyard. So you can bring back anything, but I can't special summon back the Requiem because it can only be special summoned once per turn. I could summon back the Sequentia. I believe it is a hard once per turn. Let me just double check this. Yeah, you can only use each vet. Big sad. Oh well. It doesn't make much of a difference really what we bring back. I suppose we just bring back the Snow to get that back into rotation, because then what you do is Silver would summon itself back. You would then have the ability of activating Rainbow to return any one of these back to the hand. So we'll return that. Summon out Rainbow itself. We are Fiend locked, but it's not really the end of the world. You could bring back the Snow if you wanted to. Either way, as it currently stands, your opponent has to deal with your Triple D Wave High King. Yes, they do have a full hand. We didn't even hand rip them, but the idea I wanted to show you with this deck is technically what you now get with the FiendSmiths is you get a nice little bit more of additional combo and a bit more consistency, which is kind of cool. So the DDD, that's how you kind of make that. There were other routes of play that I could make if I wanted to, like the FiendSmith. If I'd known I was going to draw into an Accession, I could very easily have made one of the FiendSmith fusion monsters. And then, of course, the Accession would then just be going into the Dark Grepher. So you'd get both, which is really kind of cool. So you'd end your board on like both. Plus, you'd have the... I mean, you could very easily have gone for the free material fusion as well, which is really kind of cool. And what we'll do is we'll shuffle this up. We'll now go second, so you can see the aggression behind the deck. Basically, with the FiendSmith, you just get an additional level 6 aggressor that can join the board. And then your Link monsters just provide you with a bit more consistency for your fusion plays as well. So after another decent shuffle and another decent cut, our opening hand of 6 this time will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's not bad. So even if I'm going second, I'm still going to start my normal summon off being Guardian, just because it now means that if my opponent wants to respond to anything that I play, I can now Quackimiri and deal with it. Now this is how the FiendSmith is going to unlock what would technically, when you look at a hand like this, be terrible. So we're going to activate the FiendSmith, discard it itself. This is then going to allow you to search out the Tractus, wherever it may be. There we go. We're going to activate the Tractus. This is going to allow us to add a Light Fiend. So I'm going to go directly for, because I've already used my normal summon, we're going to go into the Lorry again, wherever it may be. There we go. Go into the Lorry. We'll now discard a card. I'm going to be discarding Snow. No brainer. Snow's effect will now trigger. This will then allow us to get to the Genta. I'm going to get into the Genta just to kind of get it into rotation. So we're going to discard that. We're going to add a Gate to the Dark World. We're going to activate the Gate of the Dark World. We're going to use this effect to banish Genta while also discarding a Rainbow. So banish Genta, discard Rainbow, draw 1 card. Not too bad. Chaining 1 Rainbow, chain it 2 Genta. Genta summons itself back. Rainbow will search us out a Grepher. Return the Genta to the hand for the Rainbow. Discard the Genta to get us the second gate. There we go. Do that there. And this is where it's actually, Muckrock is so good because you don't mind locking yourself early doors into a Fiend now. So we're going to activate the second gate, and I'm just going to show you what I mean by that. So we'll activate the second gate. We'll use the Gate's effect. We're going to banish a Fiend from the graveyard, which will be our Snow. Doesn't make much of a difference right now. And then what we'll do is we'll discard, I think it'll discard in Fabled Raven. So we're going to discard the Fabled Raven. This will allow us to draw a card. Now the reason you would discard the Fabled Raven is because when we go into the Muckrocker, actually could I have done, yeah, I could spin that back if I wanted to. Maybe it's not the Raven, maybe we do the Lorry, because then, here we go, yeah. So then Lorry turns itself into the Requiem. Requiem can then tribute itself off if you want it to. Personally, it doesn't make much of a difference. We'll tribute that off. We'll summon out the second FiendSmith just to get it out of the deck. And then what you can do here is you can use your FiendSmith plus your Overlord, and this will get you into your Sequentia. Now I've got the ability of a FiendSmith off the back of that, and Sequentia will get it into. So we're going to use Tractus effect. We're going to banish this. We're going to use 1 FiendSmith. Oh, I need to get FiendSmith back to the board first. We'll bring FiendSmith back to the board, put Requiem or Lorry back into the deck. Just because I can equip that, let's put Lorry back into the deck. Summon the FiendSmith back, then banish the Tractus. Tractus will now allow you to use your hand and field. Banish the card from the graveyard, fusion summon a FiendSmith fusion monster from your actually use a monster from the hand or field. Yep. So you use your FiendSmith plus your Raven. This will then allow you to fuse into your Lacrimosa. Lacrimosa is monsters your opponent controls lose 600 attack, and if this card is fusion summoned, you get to target a Light Fiend monster in your graveyard or sent to the graveyard. Banished or in the graveyard and summon it back to the board. So you're going to summon back your Fabled Raven. Not even Fiend locked yet. If this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you get to shuffle 1 other Light Fiend monster from your graveyard into the deck or extra deck and burn your opponent for 1200. So as this currently stands, Sequentia hasn't used this effect yet, which is fine because now we can use Raven to discard the Grepher, and we'll also discard Lucian, bumping this up to a level 4. You'll then be able to trigger Grepher's effect to pop a card, Lucian's effect to summon itself back. We will return Lucian to the hand for Rainbow. Raven can now synchro with the Lacrimosa, and this will go into a Chaos Angel or a Baron if you want to. I suppose if it goes into a Baron, this is only going to have the light effect protection, so you're probably better off going into the Baron, to be fair. So let's not go Chaos Angel, let's go Baron. Really kind of cool. Right, Sequentia hasn't used his effect yet, which means I need to get the Grepher to the graveyard, which is very easily done. Lacrimosa's effect will allow us to shuffle other Light Fiend fusion monster in the graveyard to the deck or extra deck to inflict 1200. So let's put Fabled Raven back, burn our opponent for 1200, so that makes our job a little bit easier. Now what we want to do is we want to link off these two, put those in the graveyard. We'll go into Muckcracker. You can now use the Sequentia's effect to spin back the Grepher and Genta. They'll both go into Grepher Dragon Overlord. I'm trying to think if we want to do anything before we Fiend Lock ourselves. What else have we got? None of that I want to bring back. I've already used the FiendSmith effect. I could use Sequentia's effect actually to fuse into, rather than going into the Grepher Fusion Overlord, I could very easily put these three back and go into the bigger fusion monster, which would be really kind of cool. Actually, I wouldn't even put those three back. Put those three back. I might do that just to kind of show you what the FiendSmiths can do. So we'll put back the Lacrimosa, we'll put back the two FiendSmiths, rather than, was it Grepher and Genta? So we're going to leave those in the graveyard. So rather than going to the Grepher, because I shouldn't need to defend against anything, I can just be quite aggressive now. So we'll go into the FiendSmith Dies Aria. So this one has a quick effect to negate the effects of a number of face-up cards on the field, up to the total link ratings of the link monsters equipped to this card. Now I have the ability to equip it with one with Requiem, so I get to target a non-link light fiend monster you control, equip this card from the hand or field to it as graveyard, it gains 600 attack. But also I want to try and get this to the graveyard in order to do that as well. So I mean I've got the Baron negate, so I might just link these two together, just to get that into the graveyard to do exactly that. I'm going to go SP Little Knight, but I'm not going to use this effect. We can then use the Sequentia to equip to the FiendSmith. Now what we're going to do is we're going to use the Muckcracker's effect and actually Fiend Lock ourselves. Just trying to think what we've got here. We've got that and a Grepher. Can't summon back that, so we'll summon back the Rainbow. Summon back Rainbow, we'll discard Lucian. Lucian will summon itself down, and then we can technically return the Lucian to the hand for the Grepher. There we go. So I've now got the FiendSmith Dies Aria, which will give us the ability to negate 3 face-up cards. It is currently on 34 and it cannot be targeted. Baron's got the ability to pop a card as well. We've already burnt our opponent for 1200 and we've popped a card by discarding Grepher later on in the turn, or previously in the turn. If they activate anything, I can use SP Little Knights to bounce out rather than use this effect to negate anything. Sorry, not to negate anything, to banish on summon, which means I can still attack directly. All my Fiend monsters, which is 1, 2, 3, and 4, are going to be buffed by 300 as well, thanks to Gate of the Darkworld. And I still have a handful ready to go. But it's kind of cool that to show this one off, to be fair. I actually really like his artwork. Anyway, that is pretty much it for the test stand. Sorry for that last little minute rechange with the Grepher Dragon Overlord, but ultimately, didn't need it. I think Grepher Dragon Overlord, quite like how colourless is the aggressive option of the Grepher Dragon Overlord, I feel that the FiendSmith Big Boss Fusion Monster can be the aggressor of this one as well, which is really nice. Anyway, I hope this has given you a couple of ideas on your own build. I hope it's given you a bit of an insight into how the deck can work together. It's a really kind of cool deck. I can't wait for these to actually hit the TCG. I'm just hoping that they're not going to be stupidly hard to get hold of. If they're in a side set, and I believe they're in the set with Exodia, and I don't know if that's a main set or a side set. If it's a main set, great. It means one of them will probably be a secret, if not 2 of them, but they wouldn't be that hard to get a hold of. But if they are in a side set, it means they're all going to be collector rares, and then quite a few of them could arguably be ultras, so it might be a little bit more difficult to get hold of. Still really cool deck, really, really fun. I love Dark Worlds anyway, so any deck or any kind of new support that they could technically utilize, I'm really excited about. If you want to see like a Fabled build of this, where it's more focused on the Fables, so you get a bit more synergy with the Light Fiends themselves, then let me know in the comments down below. Get the video above 50 likes in the first 24 hours, and I'll be more than happy to bring that for you. But for now, as absolutely always, thank you so much for watching. Smash that like button, hit the notification bell, and subscribe. But more important than ever, stay safe, and of course, happy dueling.